Hey everybody, what's going on, and welcome to Guns N' Roses Central, and we've got your news recap for the week. So this is going to be my temporary home for the next little bit until we get things sorted out on the back end. So before we get started with this week's news recap, I want to let you guys know we interviewed Andy Morahan, who directed the Strange, November Rain, Don't Cry music videos. He also did Garden of Eden, Yesterday's, and I believe he did The Garden as well. And yeah, we interviewed him on our podcast. The link is in the description box below if you guys want to go check it out. There's a lot of great stories about stuff that happened behind the scenes on some of those videos when Guns N' Roses was shooting them. Let's get started with this week's news. So one really cool thing that happened to GNR Central this week is that we were interviewed by Black Velvet Rock Music Magazine. It's a UK magazine that interviews a lot of rock musicians, does album reviews. It's primarily an online magazine, and they talked to me a couple months ago, and they said, hey, we always spotlight like a fan website for different bands, and we really like your stuff and we like to interview you. So there's an interview that I did with them. I've linked to the interview down below. They basically asked me what the channel is about, how long do I work on it per day, and why people should go visit it. So go check out the interview. I really want to thank the people from Black Velvet Rock Magazine. It was really an honor to be featured in their magazine, and they have a lot of cool interviews with some really well-known rock and roll bands. So go check out the link down below. So we got some good news for those fans who want to see something new in the set list on Guns N' Roses Not in This Lifetime tour in Europe. So they surprised everybody by playing Slither at their first show in Berlin, and they've continuously played the song at their next several shows. They also performed Shadow of Your Love for the first time in over 30 years during a concert they played in Denmark. So they played Shadow of Your Love, not only the Denmark show, but also at the show they played at the Download Festival this past weekend. If you guys want to see footage of that performance, I've linked to it down below. I was surprised how good Axl sounded on it, how good he sounded on it, although I did take issue with some of Frank's playing on the song, and after hearing Frank play it, I'm pretty convinced that it's Steven on the recording and not Frank. We also had some other news about the song Shadow of Your Love. So it's been rising up the Billboard charts. So when it first released, it ranked at number 31 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock charts. A week after that, it went to number 16 until finally going up to number 9. And this week, it stayed put at number 6 on the Billboard charts. And who knows, maybe it'll make the top 5 as the band keeps playing it. I haven't really heard it on the radio over here, but I did have somebody message me on Facebook. They were listening to Sirius XM radio. I think it was there's an underground channel, and he said they played a whole Hollywood Rose concert. And sure enough, he sent me the clip, and they played Shadow of Your Love as performed by Hollywood Rose back in the day. So I don't know if this was something that they were advertising on Sirius XM, or was maybe just a bootleg they were playing. But let me know in your guys' wherever you live if you're hearing Shadow of Your Love a lot on the radio. Axl Rose finally took a long break from social media and came back with a tweet this past weekend. It was Queen Elizabeth's 92nd birthday, and he took some time to basically go on social media and wish her a happy birthday. It's also important to note that Guns N' Roses played the Download Festival this past weekend, so maybe that's why he wished her a happy birthday. Speaking of the Download Festival, it looks like Guns N' Roses tour rider had leaked online, so the UK's Daily Mirror interviewed some of the festival organizers and promoters who revealed what Guns N' Roses demanded for their tour rider, one of which included a porcelain toilet. So I'm guessing at one of these big festivals, or whenever they have these festivals, they always use outhouses, and maybe, porcelain toilets aren't readily available, but that's something that Guns N' Roses requested. They also said that the source in the interview said, I'm told that Axl / Duff and the rest of the band flew in for their 3-hour headlining slot by helicopter before being whisked off to a compound the size of a football pitch. Access was denied to anyone who wasn't part of the tour group. Inside, they had home comforts from basically from the U.S. flown over, including their favorite Hershey bars and extra cheesy pizzas. And anyone who's ever been to a festival is familiar with the horror of the portaloo, so it's understandable that the band demanded special porcelain bogs to ease their comfort. And they were even told that super silky toilet paper was also requested by Guns N' Roses. And a source said when the organizers of Download got Guns N' Roses' request, they were gobsmacked. It is the biggest rider the festival has ever seen. They've never seen anything like it, but they made sure it's exactly how they wanted. Some of the other favorite stars' demands included Jay-Z having a personal cigar maker on his payroll, and Mariah Carey asking for 20 white kittens and 100 white doves. And we've got some more Shadow of Your Love news. So I had one question from a subscriber who asked me who was the artist behind the cover art for the single and the music video. And I thought maybe it's Slash's brother because he's, worked with Slash before in the past. But it turns out Arian Butler, I hope I'm saying his name right, is the artist behind the Shadow of Your Love artwork. So he's also done some of the lithograph artwork for the Not in This Lifetime tour. So if you take a look at his Instagram page, you'll see some of them. He posted this on Instagram. He said, I took a long social media break and it felt pretty good. I've been working hard on a lot of really fun projects. This is the official Shadow of Your Love artwork for GNR, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to do the artwork for this amazing, iconic band. I'll be posting a bunch more stuff in the next couple of weeks. And then he ended it with a bunch of Guns N' Roses hashtags. So Steven Adler gave an interview recently to WRIF Radio, and he talked about talking to Izzy Stradlin within the last 2 months. He talked about his thoughts on the reissue. He was asked about the Appetite for Destruction 30th anniversary reissue, and he said there weren't too many pictures of him and Izzy in the booklet. He said, I guess there's a couple pictures of me and Izzy in some little booklet in the back of the thing. I saw somebody had it in Australia, and the book that comes with it, it was just of the new band, so the pictures really weren't that cool. He was then asked about if he knew about the announcement of the reissue. He said, no, I didn't know it was coming. I was like, wow, this is great. Maybe the great, smart professional Fernando, referring to Axl's manager, has something really cool under his sleeves, ready to pull out like a magician and make something really happen that the fans are going to love and want. He then detailed a conversation he had with Izzy Stradlin 2 months ago about what Izzy is currently up to. He said, Izzy and I talked about 2 months ago. He just buys old cars, fixes them up, drives them across country to his ranch. He has a ranch in Indiana or something. He also said that Izzy has a talent for living. He said living takes a talent, and he's got a talent for life. So if you guys want to see more of the interview, I've linked to it down below in the description box. In the same interview, Steven Adler also took some time to criticize Chinese democracy. So he said, I think Axl should have called it WAR instead of Guns N' Roses. If he called it War, it wouldn't have sold as many records, but having the Guns N' Roses name, it was able to sell a few. That was like a solo record. There wasn't one person from the original band on it. I think there were probably 20 people playing on it. It took 17 years to make. It's more like a solo record. Axl is a really talented and very smart person. I love him. I wish I could give him a hug and a big kiss, but I can't see him. I think the music that we made in the beginning of our career is what kept the name alive, because him doing 17 years of nothing to make a record, I thought for sure that he was going to come out with Bohemian Rhapsody or The Wall or another album. I thought 17 years to make a record that is going to be Quadrophenia or Dark Side of the Moon, one of those great records, but it's just an Axl solo record. Axl's great. When you're great, you're great, but Appetite sold 100 million records, and that one sold just 500,000, so there you go. We also had an interview with Guns N' Roses booking agent. So Rod McSween was interviewed by Music Week, and he talked about some of his favorite shows that have happened so far as part of the Not in This Lifetime tour. So speaking of the new issue of Music Week, he said that the whole world tour has been a spectacular success. Some highlights were the 2 sold-out Olympic Stadium shows in London last year, playing the Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia, and the passionate crowds in South America. So McSween, who guides the band's live career outside of North America, described public demand to see the reformed lineup as voracious, adding the strategy has been to route with care to play some new markets and always plan ahead. And he also talked about what to see from the upcoming download slot. There was also a super detailed interview this past week with Eric Dover, who was the lead singer of the first incarnation of Snake Pit. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire interview. He talked a ton about Snake Pit. This is the most in-depth I've ever heard Eric Dover talk about Snake Pit since leaving the band. So he talked about the whole auditioning process. He talked about the first time jamming with Slash. He talked about some of the covers they played while on tour. He also revealed how Beggars and Hangers On was basically one of the first songs he heard, and he basically wrote the lyrics to them to the song on the spot. He also talked about Duff McKagan's involvement with the song Beggars and Hangers On because he's listed as a co-writer. He also was asked about working with Mike Klink on the It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere soundtrack, or the album. And he also talked about a bunch of other stuff too. He even talked about, meeting Izzy, because if you guys remember, Izzy joined Snake Pit for at least one show that they played in Chicago. They played a Rolling Stones cover. And there's a bunch of other great stuff in the interview. I've linked to it down below in the description box. If you guys are a fan of Snake Pit or just a GNR fan, go check out the interview. It's really well done. We got some big news from Facebook this week. So the social media giant announced that they are going to be launching a service called Lip Sync Live that lets users lip sync to famous songs, including Guns N' Roses. So they're starting to test a feature designed to steal users from the teen sensation app Musical.ly. So Facebook's new Lip Sync Live lets users pick a popular song to pretend to sing on Facebook Live broadcast. So hundreds of songs are going to be available at the start, including Havana by Camila Cabello, Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses, and God's Plan by Drake. So when users upload videos with music and the new rules are in effect, they'll quickly be notified whether that song is allowed via the deals and fine to share, or if the video will be muted because they don't have the copyright for those songs. So I'm kind of curious how many Welcome to the Jungle lip syncs we're going to see on Facebook. I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of them. So let me know if you guys are interested in this feature down below in the description box. Frankly, I'd much rather sing it while playing the custom version of the song in Rock Band 3 for the Xbox 360.